Yes, thank you. Welcome. I'm Teresa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce, and you are watching, hopefully on purpose, Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor. And I have with me, as I always do, the one, the only mayor of this beautiful city of Port St. Lucie, Mayor Gregory Oravec. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for welcoming me to City Hall. I always appreciate it when you do that.
Yes,
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome to your own house. I should do that. I'll come to your house and say, hey, welcome.
It's the people's house, but I'm glad that they let me live in it.
They do. Well, we have a great show today. I want to remind everybody at home, thanks for all of you for joining us, but you too at home can join us. We do this event every fourth Friday of the month. It's free. It's open to the public. It starts at 8:30 a.m. right here at the City Chambers at City Hall, the mayor's house.
Is that true? I don't think we do it every fourth Friday of the month. I think we normally do it the second Friday of the month. And this month we did it because I was in D.C. lobbying on the people's behalf.
That's right, you were.
And then you called me up and said, Greg, we always have to have this because we have people that depend on this and their sponsors in the chamber. We depend on this. And you twisted my arm like this and you said, I don't care what's going on. We will have a coffee with the mayor this month.
One of these.
So I'm a full disclosure mayor. That's what really happened.
Okay, he is a very transparent mayor. I will keep that in mind next time I get one of these. But yes, you're absolutely right. So we have done this on a different day, but typically it is the second Friday of the month. So don't come the fourth Friday of the month because I will be somewhere else doing another show.
Yes, you'll be doing it. That's right. But
yeah.
Okay. It is a Friday. It's normally the second Friday.
Is it the fourth Friday? I think it's like the fifth, right?
It is the fifth.
It's the fifth Friday. All right, very good. It's Good Friday for all of those.
There we go. Ding, ding. That is true.
Yes.
True.
But while you're watching it, it's probably, June by now.
Could
By
be.
the time you're watching it. All right, well, we're going to get started. What's going on today? What do we got planned?
Well, I know that you and we all want to recognize Early Learning Coalition.
Yeah.
And actually have a proclamation for them.
Oh, good.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And we'll read it when they come on. But the Early Learning Coalition, for those of you who don't know, is a state agency that is charged with making sure that our children have some sort of formal education prior to even kindergarten. So because as we know, learning to read is incredibly important in life skills success of all children. And so the Early Learning Coalition is partly charged with that, correct?
Well, that's probably a good reason why they're named Early Learning then.
Yeah. Not late learning.
We won't steal any of their thunder. You want to just go ahead and get to it, make it happen?
Yeah, sure. We could do that. And then we'll visit with our sponsor, and then you and I will wrap it up with some hot topics of what's going on in the city, because there seems to be a lot.
There's a lot of action going on right now.
Yeah, there is.
There's probably some people out here that want to have their questions answered, so we'll do our very best.
All right, so we'll get to that early. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Coffee with the Mayor. I'm Teresa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. It is our pleasure, our honor to host this event every usual second Friday of the month. It's free. It's open to the public. We do it right here at City Hall, 8:30 a.m. Come on down. We've got coffee and Danish courtesy of silver platter entrees. It's all free. It's all fun, and it's all live. If you're here in the audience, it's live. But I want to welcome back, of course, the Mayor of Port St. Lucie, Gregory Oravec.
Well, thank you. I'm still here.
Yes, you are. And we have been joined by a couple of guests. And so I'm not sure, did you want me to introduce? I do sit on the board for the Early Learning Coalition.
Please do.
So I know I can say her name right. Well, not that it's a hard one. But please welcome Deb LaBella.
Thank you.
Deb is from the Early Learning Coalition and works there. And she has with us from the school board, Kimberly Roberts. Welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Welcome to both of you. I know that before we get to the mayor's proclamation, Early Learning Coalition, can you just tell us really what the mission is? The mission is long, but just tell us, Cliff's Notes that thing for us.
Absolutely, Cliff noted. The Early Learning Coalition, primarily what we do is we provide children opportunities for a safe, quality early learning program. So birth to 5, we work with child care providers, and we provide support and technical assistance and coaching, and through a federal grant and also through the state, we are able to fund families who are working or going to school and may not be able to afford childcare. So we provide subsidized childcare also. But our primary goal is to make sure every child in St. Lucie County has a quality early learning experience so that they're ready for kindergarten and a lifelong experience of success.
Very good. And Kimberly, you're at the school board, but how are you tied into this program today?
Well, I'm a member of the
ELC board as well. So I'm just here to support the Early Learning Coalition of St. Lucie and here to support the Family Fun Fair.
Oh, very good.
Well, what are some of the things that you do? I mean, you seem to be very active in the community and with education.
Well,
So-
first of all, I think education is important from birth on. I don't think education you ever stop learning throughout your life. And yes, that is a passion of mine. And I feel like once a teacher, always a teacher. You never stop being a teacher, even though you're not in a classroom, physical classroom. So being a part of the Early Learning Coalition is another factor of mine. I think the education before going to kindergarten is important. But just being involved with our kids, I just think is important. I like the Lights On After School, which
Ding,
supports.
ding, ding. That's what I was trying to get to right now.
I also think that in education doesn't
What
stop
is
at
Lights
3
On?
o'clock.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yes.
Yes. Hit this hard. Get it again. I'm interrupting.
Lights On, education does not stop at 3 o'clock, which again, that's another part of that big umbrella of learning. And so Lights On After School is a movement to recognize after-school programs and what they offer to our kids and our families and how beneficial they are. So even though I would say 8 to 3, which is not all school hours, most of the learning is math, science, English, some social skills, but then after 3 o'clock, kids can go home to an empty home, most of them, or they can go and be a part of a structured program that provides character building, some STEAM activities, an extension of the things that we don't often give in a great amount in traditional 8 to 3 time.
So thank you for sharing that. And so what I'd say, Port St. Lucie, let's just unpack that right there because it's pretty heavy. So of all the things that we could do to create a more prosperous city, what I would humbly submit to you is there's nothing more important than education. All right, I've had the honor of being your mayor for just over about 3 years now, 3.5, going on 4 in November. And what I would say is that before being mayor, I was on the administrative side, right? I've been in government for 21 years. I've been to a lot of meetings, a lot of community forums, a lot of coffees, a lot of town hall meetings, a lot of workshops. Everyone wants the same things for our kids, for our future. We want it to be better. We want it to be more prosperous. We know that education's the key. In a lot of those meetings, you hear the same thing, though. Oh, it's up to the parents. What's wrong with society? What's this? What's that? Well, you could talk about things forever and not do anything and just keep putting it off on parents. You can't legislate parenting, okay? You can't make parents be good parents. You can give tools, you can give resources, you can expose people to doing the right thing, but you cannot make them do the right thing. Therefore, if we want to move forward as a community, it's incumbent upon us and everyone who is willing to do or find someone to do or pay someone to do. And how we do is through the things like the Early Learning Coalition and Lights On After School. So we know, based on an abundance of scientific evidence, that you got to get the kids by 3rd grade. You have to have them reading on level by 3rd grade. It's a fact. I mean, if you want to research it, you're going to find that if you're not reading on level by 3rd grade, you're 4 times less likely to graduate high school than your peers. You're going to find that if you're not reading on level by 3rd grade and you're poor, you're like 11 to 13 times less likely. So your fate is almost sealed. Of course, there's always exceptions. There's always a Hallmark movie, people. I'm not saying that there's not. But bulk, big numbers, moving society, our city forward, it's by 3rd grade. So it's really important, obviously, for pre-K, K through 3. But even before then, early learning, as soon as they come out, and we have a Children's Services Council who's usually here. They're not here, they had an emergency, they couldn't be here, but they're always here, and they're always working on that. We're very fortunate to have them as a tool. But then in addition to that 0 to 3rd grade, after school care and before care, I am a big supporter, just we haven't gotten there yet. I would like to see universal before and after school care in St. Lucie County, and especially Port St. Lucie. Not only is it good for our kids, who are not reading and doing math at the level that we should, it's great for parents. Because if you're trying to make a prosperous life for you and your family, you're working hard and you're working really hard. And work doesn't stop at 3 o'clock. You know what? We pretend like, oh yeah, we could just work from our phones and from home. No, you can't. What this means is that you work at work and you work everywhere else. Kids need to be safe. They need to be learning, and that's why I think that after school care especially, but also before school care is so important. and that it shouldn't just be babysitting. It should be curriculum-based. It should be tied into learning. And I'm just so grateful for everything that you do, and we'll continue to do anything we can to support you.
Thank you.
And there is, I just want to mention, very good. We are working harder as a coalition and with other groups throughout the state to try to get some minimum standards for our before care and after care. Because the reality is we need to be able to say to these people, yes, we would love to subsidize you. You need to provide a certain level of education and some minimum standards to be able to be subsidized. So we're hopeful that that will be signed and ready to go, and we can start making sure that hold people accountable. So,
Amen.
yes.
All
We'd
right,
love to hold people
so
accountable.
with all of that, I kind of already gave you the fire and brimstone soapbox
Yes.
speech. And Teresa actually has a soapbox. I never thought about it till just now,
I
but
do. I don't use it as strongly, but I have one.
so as mayor, one of the things that I get to do is proclaim certain days and recognition of things that deserve attention, and certainly the Early Learning Coalition deserves attention. So I'm going to make this proclamation. I'm going to deliver it to you. And the proclamation states, whereas the 23rd Annual Children's Week celebrating parents and children took place in Tallahassee from January 21st, 2018 to January 26th, 2018. Did you go?
I did not.
You're on our board, right?
I am.
All right, because you could send her. You know, that's all you got to do is like authorize it and.
I don't think I have that power, but okay, we'll talk to Tony. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I don't have that power.
Our board chair and CEO did go.
Tony?
Yeah, Tony and Jerry.
Tony, I dance in high heels, loop.
Fishnets, Luke, yes.
That probably bears some explanation given its early learning, but they do a great
Not in
fundraiser,
front of the kids, though.
and they did lip syncing, and Mr. Loop. You know, with productions and musicals, you really got to worry about timing and building up to a grand finale. Tony Loop went right at the beginning a couple of years ago, and he was one of the best acts, and it was really hard to meet it. But he came out, he was wearing fishnets, wasn't he?
He was wearing fishnets.
High heels.
He was
Yes.
Beyonce.
He told us to put a ring on it.
Yes,
and,
he did.
Yeah, Queen Bee, Beyonce, he
was
did.
very
and
convincing.
It was very good. So
He nailed it.
I've gone from really serious to really silly, so we'll have to start over. But
back. No.
in any event, believe me when I say that there was an event that took place in Tallahassee, and it brought thousands of parents, children, professionals, policymakers, community leaders, and concerned citizens together to share valuable knowledge and information about children's issues across the state and in our capital city. And whereas the purpose of Children's Week is to create a shared vision of the state of Florida's commitment to its children and families, and to engage a long-term process to develop and implement strategies for moving the shared vision forward. And whereas Children's Week has teamed up with more than 100 leading statewide businesses and nonprofit organizations and hundreds of local organizations to expand the network of community involvement and education on a wide array of children and family issues at the local level, and to conduct events and activities in January, February, March, and April. So we got another month. In all 67 counties focused on improving the health, safety, and well-being of Florida's children and families. And whereas hundreds of local municipalities have officially proclaimed Children's Day and hosted hundreds of public events and activities for parents and children in their community, now therefore I, Gregory J. Orvek, Mayor of the City of Port St. Lucie, do hereby proclaim that April the 7th, 2018 be observed as Children's Day, and April 8th, 2018 as Parents and Children's Day in Port St. Lucie, and call upon all of our citizens to find ways to improve the lives of our children.
Very nice.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. You come in here for, there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mayor.
All
you
right,
very much.
everybody,
Appreciate
that
it.
was fantastic. Thank you for everything that you all do and for your passion. And we will be right back with today's, we got a new event coming to Civic Center. We're going to talk about that in just a few moments. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. We had an impromptu hype man. I love it. Welcome back. I'm Teresa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. This, of course, is Coffee with the Port St. It's Port St.
Hi, everybody.
Lucie.
I'm Greg Orbeck.
Yes.
Mayor of Port St. Lucie.
There you go. That guy.
I knew I could do it.
Yes, you did it. You saved me. You helped me. But that guy's our co-host. We're happy to be here. We're here every second Friday of the month, 8:30 a.m. right here in Council Chambers, the mayor's house. And we can
People's
also.
house, also the council. Don't want any.
Yeah, he
I don't want
doesn't
any
want.
my brother and my sister.
You're going to get an angry letter. It's
Yeah.
everybody's. I'm a taxpayer. It's my house too. But anyway, I also want to mention that you can watch us on TV. You can watch us on Comcast 20 or UVerse 99, which is of course AT&T. We throw in free coffee and Danish courtesy of silver platter entrees, but only for those of you that show up, like these great people right up front. So thank you for that. And we have today our sponsor, and the mayor's going to do the sponsor with me because this is sort of a community thing that we're going to be talking about. And so I'm glad that the mayor's with me to be able to tell the people, the good people, about what's going on. So please welcome Dana Trabolsi and Lynette Maratha.
Thank you.
And they are co-owners of the Treasure Coast Business Summit, which is now in what year?
It's the 10th year. It's our 10th annual Treasure Coast
Very
Business Summit.
nice. Congratulations on your 10th anniversary. And tell us about it. What is it? When is it? All the great things that we need to know.
For sure. So we want to thank the mayor for having us, of course, and the chamber. Thank you for allowing this opportunity. Additionally, we want to thank the city for endorsing this event. It's a really important business community event. It's all B2B. So the event is Thursday, May 17th, 2018, over at the Port St. Lucie Civic Center. So we pretty much occupy the entire right side of the Civic Center, and it is an important business community event that you can come and have some educational opportunities. There are exhibitor opportunities, and so that's what we have. We have a lot going on, so we can talk about that as well.
Lynette, everyone here probably knows B2B, but for anyone watching at home, what does B2B mean?
So B2B is business to business. So business to business opportunities, small business, sole proprietors, medium-sized, large business. It's all business to business on the floor, business to business educational opportunities as a business professional or as a business owner.
So a lot of times, life is so busy, we're always trying to prioritize. What are the three best things a business owner could or should accomplish at Treasure Coast Business Summit, do you think? What do you think they're like the top three things? This is what I'm going to get out of it. I own Orbeck and Company, LLC. I want to get into some business to business. I want to figure out what other businesses are doing. I need resources, but I can only get three things done. What are the three things I should be looking for?
The three things that you should get done at the Treasure Coast Business Summit would, number one, walk away with leads. So you've made connections. Meet other like-minded people that are willing and interested in growing their business. And we have an educational component as well. So we've partnered with the EDC, and we are bringing in WeVenture, Florida Virtual Entrepreneurship, and also
Snow pressure.
SBDC.
Yeah.
SBDC. Yeah, so there's a lot of.
Let's say the acronyms, or not. Let's say what they are, because I want our audience to be enriched and.
Oh, we'll have to test ourselves because sometimes we use acronyms
We'll use
for so
that
long.
as a trivia because I hope small businesses know what that is. So we'll use that as
So
Don't tell them
SBDC,
yet.
small business. Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah, we'll do it as a trivia.
But there's an SBA.
There is
Yeah.
an SBA, but there's an SBA.
But we're working with the SBDC.
Yes.
There's a new BK going up on US
Yeah,
1.
Yeah,
And an SB.
and we're the TCBS,
Yes,
so.
yeah.
And who has a
And I'm the
PhD in
CEO.
BS? Yeah.
Oh, was that me? Oh,
Man,
We just
we're gonna
had an
have to-
entire
we're gonna have to
20-minute
edit that
conversation
out.
without
Oh,
any real
I
words.
know. I'm super excited about partnering, and I know Lynette as well, with the EDC, Economic Development Council, because,
Yeah.
because they're bringing so much growth and opportunity into our area, but with bringing the SBDC, we're going to test you on that, and there's so many resources for our business owners or potential business owners that are available, that are free, that can only help you grow.
Right.
And that's important. We need to take advantage of those opportunities.
Well, thank you for saying that. So, as mayor, I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of Facebook posts.
Yes, you do.
I had an interesting couple days actually on Facebook. And people just expect that it's the city that creates these businesses or the retailers, the restaurateurs that we all want. It's not. It's not us. It's you. And it's really up to entrepreneurs and owner-developers who want to invest the money and the time and really the blood, sweat, and tears. And that's who decides whether a business comes here and whether it succeeds or fails, in all honesty. And just to be brutally honest with you, because I always like to be straightforward, most businesses, new businesses, fail. That's the math of it. So resources like this, and when you can put in education, is so important, and we're so glad that you're working together with all the elements of the community to make it happen. And this is the 10th, but really it's your
Second.
It is our
second.
second, yes.
And so it's a long-standing event, but this dynamic duo right here, it's their second. And I went, of course, last year, and they had a great keynote speaker. And I don't use the term great lightly. It was an insider from Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
And what was the name of the speaker?
Jeff Manley.
He was the best speaker that I've personally ever listened to in the Civic Center. That was, to me, the best speaker we ever had in our building. He was amazing. And you brought him here, and your very first one. So just hats off, and thank you for continuous improvement.
Thank you. We are very excited for our segue into our guest speaker for this year. So we kind of have to raise the bar when you bring somebody in like that first year. So this year we are bringing in Peter W. Bush, and he is from the Anheuser-Busch family. And because it's the 10th anniversary and the summit started in 2008, the Civic Center opened in 2008, we've seen a lot transpire in the last 10 years. Growth, prosperity, and everything starts small. You were just talking about how new businesses start. And Anheuser-Busch started as just two families getting together and brewing beer. And so he's going to tell his story of not only this small business that became large, a family story, but also coming from such a large brand and moving to Fort Pierce over 30 years ago, and how Southern Eagle Distributing, which is his company, what they've brought to the community and how they've engaged and created growth.
Very good. A good community partner.
Great community partner.
I do want to mention that I find that even though it is business to business, generally, that everybody that works at a business or owns a business is also a consumer, realistically. So you're covering all the bases when you come to this event. And so you should, no matter what your business is, you really should come out with some leads and not miss it.
I agree. So historically, it's been a B2B event. We've embraced the B2C, so business to customer, business to consumer, because we all consume each other's services and offerings, and that's what makes our community great, is we are comprised primarily of small businesses that have taken the opportunity and taken those liberties to embrace growth, such as Southern Eagle. And so, like Dana said, everything starts small. We all start small. We're celebrating growth this year, and so the opportunities that we're bringing to the table with the educational component are exactly those things. We're keeping it focused on how to grow your business and providing those resources to do that.
Now, I feel I have to bring it up myself because nobody led into this one, but at lunchtime we're doing a special presentation as well. The Chamber and the TCBS are going to be hosting your city manager, Russ Blackburn.
You were pointing at me as PhD at BS when you have BS in your name? Wow, Dana.
Yes.
Yeah, wow, that's really selective reading.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He's been waiting for the comeback.
I know, I had that one locked and loaded, didn't he? Well, we're going to have our annual
Is
every
Russ
year.
going to be there?
He's going to be there at lunchtime. We're going to do
Is
a
he?
full
Because
hot
he's on
lunch.
vacation today.
Well, it's not today.
Oh, okay. All right, all right.
All right, it's when is it? The date is May.
May 17th. And so we partnered with the Chamber of
Yes.
Commerce, and the city update is historically a separate event.
It is.
And so the meeting of our beautiful minds came together and said, let's make this a high-level event that the community can come to, and a one-and-done business day opportunity. And so the Chamber is going to bring in our city manager and Mr. Russ Blackburn. And so we'll get updates on what's going on in the city. Where is the city going? We'll talk a little bit about the port, the airport, Citrus Grove property. And so it's going to be highly informational. It is a separate ticketed lunch. So if you go to tcbizsummit.com, which is our website, or the Chamber's website, the St. Lucie County Chamber's website, you can access and resource all those opportunities.
Yeah.
And of course, we want you to come for the whole day.
Of course.
But you can also just come for certain segments. So if you wanted to just come for the city update, that's great for the educational piece. Obviously, the expo is going to be exciting. We're going to have we have great sponsors and wonderful vendors this year again. So we're excited. WPBF will be there. They're setting up a mock news station so people can get their picture taken behind the desk, and it's going to be fun.
The one thing I want to plug about WPBF very quickly is they are going to be doing a story about 3 business owners here on the Treasure Coast that have come through those difficult times from 2008 until now, and we're going to do a story to celebrate those and to highlight and provide inspiration to other business owners.
Do we know who they are?
We're not going to disclose that right
Okay, very good. It's a story. You got to come to the summit.
We don't want to take their fire.
All right, very good. Well, I'm happy that we're all partnering. I think it's best when we do these events as a community, instead of everybody doing their own thing. So we're more than happy to do it all at the same time and do it together.
We should do it together.
Yeah, we want to share our audience. We want to make it easy we don't want people to have to choose. Do it all. If we do it all on the same day, they can. We have a trivia question, and you have 4 tickets to give away, 4 tickets to the summit. And like I said, anybody can come because you're going to learn so much about the small businesses that are here. So, Mayor, will you do the honors of asking our trivia question? And we'll get Lynette, since you're a professional DJ, we'll let you go out to the audience with the handheld and see if we can get somebody to answer the question. Are you ready?
I am.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Greg's going to make something up.
What is the longest word in the English language? No, is that it?
No.
SBDC? What does it stand for?
SBDC, who can tell us? And I see Gwen.
She's
Gwen
not a
McLeod.
member of the SBDC, is she?
No, she's not. She owns a little nonprofit called We Leap.
Small Business Development Center.
It is. Very nice. Very good. So,
That's what I thought it was. I was a little worried, though, that the C could be something else.
yeah. It's the last letter is always sort of, it could be a myriad of different things, but it is center. So congratulations to Gwen. She's going to get 4 tickets to the show.
Perfect.
Yeah, you had
Or
some?
do you want to do 3 others or 2 others so she could bring a friend? What's your thought?
We'll give you a 4-pack. I do want to disclose, we do have some complimentary tickets for chamber members as an incentive to your chamber membership. So there is an incentive. You can contact the chamber and get secure your complimentary tickets. All area
Got that
chambers.
from the Civic Center
Loretta
right there.
and
See, I reached back
Oh,
there.
yes. That would be
See,
cute if we had
It was right there in the Civic Center. and I got it
window.
out.
Very good. Very excited about it.
Before we head off, I would like to mention a component of the Business Summit that we started last year, and that is our Trailblazer Award.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, it's a new award that we brought to life last year with Mindy Fetterman from the Inner Truth Project. We call her our brainchild because she thought of this idea, and it's really a way to celebrate women in our community who have really carved a path, blazed a trail. Our one and only Jane Rowley is one of our trailblazers from last year. And always, she's always been a trailblazer. But we encourage...
She's still blazing.
She's blazing. We encourage you to go on the Treasure Coast Business Summit website, bcbizsummit.com. And if you know a woman, which all of you do, any walk of life who has made a difference, who has carved a path, blazed a trail, who you would like to nominate for this recognition, we would love for you to do that. We are getting so many wonderful submissions in and hearing beautiful stories of women from all walks of life, and we want to celebrate that.
Very good. I love that idea.
Thank you.
More women about women with women. Sorry, Greg.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Women.
All right.
Anything a man can do, a woman can do better. That's what I
Oh.
I'm glad that you know that.
say. There's a few exceptions for feats of physical strength.
Yes.
Yeah, outside of that, though.
I will.
Totally,
I will admit to that.
totally.
Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
Can you just repeat for anyone who's watching this later, and they're watching it now to them, but later to us,
Yeah.
all the contact info and all the important dates and anything else you want them to know?
Yes, absolutely. So you can purchase your tickets online. You can secure complimentary tickets for area chamber members, or you can show up and we'd love to have you at the door. So the date is Thursday, May 17th. It's a Thursday intentionally so that you can go visit your contacts on Friday and not let them sit through that entire weekend. So we strategically moved it from the Friday to a Thursday so that you have those opportunities on Friday to visit with your connection. So Thursday, May 17th, 2018, Port St. Lucie Civic Center, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., action-packed day. Bring your best self, bring your business cards, your associates, and let's learn.
All right. Well, with that, we will be right back, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor. I'm Teresa Aronson from the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce.
And I'm Greg Orbeck.
There you go. And he happens to be the mayor.
I've been wanting to do that for 2 years now.
He does.
I'm like, you don't have to say my name.
I feel like he wants to do a tap dance routine. And
we got to do some river dancing.
I don't like that. That freaks me out.
All right, well.
Freaks me out. Their head is perfectly still, and it freaks me out a little bit.
You got some weird takes. But,
I do.
We're getting close to 9:30.
We are.
We lost part of our audience there. And I think it was because Lynette. No, really, but she's worried it's bad. It's good. She was so motivational about bringing your best self and going to Treasure Coast Business Summit. It's a 10th.
They ran out to get their game plan together.
That's like, boom, I'm going to do some leads. I don't care if it's Good Friday. I'm going to make it happen. So let's wrap this thing up with power. So there's a couple of big things going on in the community. One is we have an offer. It's not us having an offer. It's the SEC appointed receiver on City Center. So our backdrop is the beautiful Civic Center.
People always
Treasure Coast Business Summit is going to be at the Civic Center, but all of that green area around it, that's what we call City Center, okay? And City Center is privately held, and the last person to own it, Lily Zong, she took it from George DeGuardiola when he went bankrupt. She bought it subject to the taxes. She allegedly defrauded investors, and so the SEC swooped in, and they appointed a receiver over the land, froze all of our assets, sold them off. And the receiver sold everything but City Center, and he's in charge. It's not the city selling the land. We don't own the land.
It's not yours.
It's not ours. At this point, it's basically the SEC's and under the control of the receiver.
Right.
The receiver has received a credible offer. Imagine that. The receiver has received a credible offer. We were just notified this month, the last 2 weeks. And so that'll be moving forward. And so let's hope that the developer is credible, capitalized, and ready to go vertical. So that's really exciting to see that prospect, and hopefully we're going to bring it across the finish line. It would be my hope, and I think our council's hope, that when the Crosstown Bridge is completed in the fall of 2019, that City Center, buildings at City Center, not the whole thing because it's hundreds of thousands of square feet, but that the first project, the City Center, would be going vertical. You'd see vertical construction. And at the same time, what I'm calling upon our city to do is to beautify US 1. We might not be able to do the whole corridor at one time, but at least from our northern city limits, which is Liberty, if you know where the Liberty complex is.
Liberty Medical.
Just north of Village Green Drive. So Crosstown's coming at Village Green Drive. Just to the north of that, down to Tiffany Lingate area, that's where St. Lucie Medical Center is. If we could do that stretch of US 1, beautify that, have buildings going vertical at City Center, and having the Crosstown Bridge open all at the same time, that would really be a shot in the arm for US 1 in the city of Port St. Lucie. So that's what we got to work for there. That's fall of 2019. That's our goal. Let's work hard at it. The other thing, so that's a big thing, right? Well, even bigger, especially on scale, is what's going on with the tradition and the jobs corridor.
The Loop Road.
Well, and not just the Loop Road, but we had probably one of the most important council meetings that I've ever and probably will ever preside over yesterday. Tradition Land Company is leaving the city of Port St. Lucie. They want to give us the 1,247 commercial acres of the jobs corridor. That's the 3 miles that runs from Tradition Parkway along I-95 to Becker. So Tradition/Gatlin to Becker, all that land, the eastern side of Village, they want to give us that property. And you might say, well, why would they give it to you? The reason why is that if you'll remember, Tradition Land Company is not really a developer. Core Communities, back in about '04, started working on what was called Westchester. It was rebranded Tradition. Jane's been there the whole time. They were selling the heck out of it. The Beach Boys were in concert. There was so much demand that they had to hold a lotto for the right to buy a house. That was, in the heyday. That was in the the heights of the boom. Of course, the boom went bust. Core went under. The investors who had the mortgage on the land got a final judgment. They took the land. They took a deed in lieu of foreclosure, is basically what happened. So they're into it for $85 million. There are a bunch of special assessments on that land that paid for all the infrastructure, and like Village Parkway, that whole section. That cost them $10 million a year since they took it over. So they're into the property for $150 million at this point, and we're at the height of the recovery right now. I hate to break it to you, but the good times don't always roll. Our economy always goes through cycles. We're kind of at the height of the recovery. In fact, we're overdue for the dark side, the adjustment. That's right. Correction. You hate to use the word recession, but it's how it works, and we're kind of overdue for that. So if we're going to be good planners, if we're going to be good stewards, if we're going to be good leaders, we always have to keep that in mind. So that's where we're at. So the residential is the easy part to sell. The residential market is good. They're in a position where they're proposing to sell the residential, both Western Grove and half of Southern Grove, to Mattamy Homes.
Okay.
Which is it's actually the largest privately held home builder in North America. They're out of Canada. They're a top 25 builder in the country. They're not in our market. We have the big guys. We have Lennar, we have Pulte, we have GL, we have D.R. Horton. We don't have them. So the idea of having a new high quality builder that will bring their marketing dollars and their approach is appealing. But Tradition Land Company will never be able to do, they'll never break even. They'll never make money. The best they will ever do is today, or more specifically, when they sell that residential in today's market. Commercial, the absorption, how long it takes for the market to absorb the space, even if you were like at a chamber event, a night one, where you do this a lot, I always tease you about that. But even if you were really, really optimistic and slightly inebriated, 10 years, that kind of build out takes 20 years.
Yeah.
And
they're still forking out $10 million a year.
There's no way for the market to absorb it that fast. And to still carry the $5 million. So when they say they're leaving, they are going to leave. So back in 2007 or so, the city of the time, just as we heard before, guaranteed those bonds. So if they pull out, we're in a position where we've guaranteed the bonds. We're going to have to pay the $5 million.
Yep.
And if we didn't take the land, it would go to tax certificate sale. And as we've seen with City Center, when you have tax certificates that big, they don't get bought.
They don't.
Bad faith actors can come in.
Too many liens.
And then instead of something being done, like all the great stuff, Tradition Medical Center doubling in size, City Electric building a 400,000 square foot manufacturing facility, you could be hamstrung for 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years. So if we have to pay for it anyways, why not be in control of our destiny? Why not work with joint venture firms and others to develop it now rather than later?
Right.
And last evening, we made the decision to accept the property subject to due diligence, contract, environmental. We also authorized the city manager and directed him to advertise for joint venture partners because we think that when this comes back in May, that we'll be in a position to say to the people that not only is this the right thing, the best thing, we're going to do an excellent job and we're going to bring the jobs corridor to life.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to deliver all those jobs.
So the reality is we were going to get stuck with the bill anyway. So now we have some control over it so that we can get people on that property much quicker this way if we have control over it and get that property on the tax rolls, get more jobs, get a tax base out of what's happening there, rather than sit around and get stuck with the receivership like we have been hamstringed with at the Civic Center. So the city has decided, let's not get into a Civic Center or City Center situation again. I know. Yeah, City Center situation again.
They're the same root word.
I know. It's like Port St. Lucie Boulevard and St. Lucie West Boulevard and, the whole St. Lucie Boulevard up north, though.
It's really complicated, though, of all the issues. This really is complex.
but we
It has
wanna
a lot of moving parts.
bring it down
call
to,
me, email me, mayor@cityofpsl.com.
He can get into the weeds with you about it, but
that's
what
right.
I'm saying is quickly, we don't want the same situation where we're hamstrung by non-ownership, no power, potential for people to get investors and bamboozle other investors. We have control over it. We can bring jobs. We can get it back on the tax rolls much quicker.
I really do think that's the perfect metaphor. We do not want it to be city center.
Yeah.
That's it.
We don't want it to be city center
We
again.
learned that lesson.
Yeah.
That having the bill and not being in control or being able to move it forward is unacceptable.
Exactly. So very good.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that is, understand that's huge. That's 1,247 acres. It's about 10 million square feet of commercial entitlements, 22,500 jobs. I mean, this really is the future of the community. We are talking about not just our present, but our future.
Right. I want to open it up to questions.
Let's do it.
Because, we're running just a tad bit late, but I do want to make sure that everybody knows that Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor is typically the second Friday of the month, 8:30 a.m. And Silver Platter is now Culinary Village, and I think we've called
Really?
them Silver
Yeah, a
Platter
million
Entree.
times.
Yeah, we did. I apologize for that. It is Culinary Village, so we're writing that down, making note. Does anybody have a question for the mayor or the chamber or right here up front? 1 second, we're going to bring the microphone over here. There you go.
City Center, will we be recouping the past tax benefits?
Well, that decision is up to council, and I'm not sure if they've made it yet.
They have not, but let me just look at the tea leaves for you. What I think will happen with City Center is that the taxes, the back taxes will get paid, the back assessments will not. That's my bet. You got about, in round numbers, let's say there's 25 million owed in back taxes and assessments. There's no developer in the world going to take the property down for 25 million. Not going to happen. So the taxes have to get paid. The assessments have already been paid. And I think that's going to be looked at as water under the bridge, spilt milk. And what's important is that the assessments be carried from the moment of purchase forward. So I think that's certainly my position. That's where I'm at. Of course, there's a big caveat there, Phil, and that is that the development and the developer be highly credible, highly capitalized, and that the concept be a concept that we want to see. If those kind of prerequisites are met,
Then you'll talk about it.
then we can get there. And I mean, I think you've already seen newspaper articles to that effect. So it hasn't been decided upon, but
You got to do what's
that's kind of
best
my
for the-
expectation.
The citizens, and the goal is always to get that property back on the tax rolls, get people paying on it, and stimulate our local economy with whatever they can put there. So you got to figure out the best way to get there, and sometimes you got to make some hard decisions in the process.
Well, I mean, honestly, this one's not that hard for me because we cover that, just in assessments, we cover 1.8 million a year, every year. The second that we no longer, I mean, that's 1.8 million of free cash flow that goes towards the priorities of our citizens.
Yeah, right back into the operating budget.
That's not even including the tax value that's generated from being in private hands, paying taxes, and hopefully doing hundreds of thousands of square feet of development and 1,000 residential units.
And bringing jobs.
That's all upside.
Yeah.
Having life there, I mean, having restaurants around the stage,
sorry.
that's not, I went over the line, sorry. But that's not even going there. That's just looking at it as right now we pay $1.8 million of assessments. If the receiver, after a year and a half, and after this property being hamstrung for a decade, do you want us to tell the receiver, no, we don't want to do this deal, go find someone else? And how long do you want to fish at $1.8 million a year and deferred revenue and taxes and all that other stuff? How long do you want to do that in the quest for more money? How much more money? And then that 25 million became 35 million. And you're in a hole that you're never going to get out of. So at some point, you got to evaluate it, you got to cut your losses, and you got to move forward. We don't get to go back. And whether you're talking about City Center or you're talking about the Southwest annexation area, the Southern Grove SAD tradition, all these decisions were made in 2007. The most recent one, like VGTI, was 2010. It's 2018. Unless you guys give me a key to a time machine, unless all of a sudden we can legislate time travel There's no way to go back. We have changed our rules. On March 9th, 2015, we changed our rules so that we could no longer do those types, the city could no longer do those types of deals.
So it'll never happen again.
It'll never happen again. So given that we learned the lesson, you know, what else is there to do but move forward?
Good question, though.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. We have another question in the back, and we have a couple more questions, so we're going to try to go quickly.
Does the city know?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
We want to get you on the record there.
Yeah. There you go.
Hello. My name is Dennis Snay, and does the city know what the developer would be building at the city center? What kind of buildings? Is it going to be restaurants or?
So we haven't dealt directly with the developer, Mr. Garfinkel, David Garfinkel of Biscayne Atlantic. Our staff has met. I haven't met him personally. We expect that he'll freshen up the master plan, but that it'll be similar. So right now, the master plan for City Center is 1,000 residential units, a hotel, and about 650,000 square feet of retail and office space. So that plan was done in '05, you know, was tweaked in '07. So he's going to have to update it. But I would look for mixed use. Mm-hmm. It's obviously walkable because the framework's already in there. And I'll be pushing really hard for restaurants. So I get hit all the time about the need for restaurants and places to go. You have a band shell there. You know, you have a stage that really you could see being programmed 5 days a week. Mm-hmm. And the master plan always called for 4 restaurants around that hardscape, that village square. And hopefully that would happen sooner rather than later. But we're going to have a community conversation about it. You know, we definitely want you to be involved.
Yeah.
And stay tuned. I mean, it's going to be quite a year.
You never know until the site plan's in.
Yes.
But we have some idea because the zoning is what it is.
Yeah, and even with this, you know, deals, unfortunately, they fail all the time, and a deal's never done till the check clears.
And the ground is broken.
Well, until the building is up.
There you go.
Yeah. And
All right.
CO'd, for that matter.
Yeah, no kidding.
Certificate of occupancy, I know that's another acronym with it. Yeah.
I know. We need flashcards with this TV show. We had a question right up here. If you want to go ahead and get the mic to him.
I'd like to know if there are any plans currently about utilizing renewable energy for future developments and how that might play out around what you call the jobs corridor for utilizing wind, solar, renewables.
So thank you for your question. So the Civic Center actually had at one point one of the largest solar arrays in the United States, and definitely in the southeast U.S. And we don't have the angle to show it on there, but if you look at an aerial of the Civic Center, you'll see that. And there's actually a display in the lobby of the Civic Center. Unfortunately, the leaders of the time chose the flexible mat versus the hard panel, which I think in hindsight has been shown to be a mistake because it's not producing much electricity, which is a bummer. Currently, we're working with FPL on a couple of solar demonstration projects, so we'll be getting solar trees here. We have them going in at Jessica Clinton Park. There are several home builders that we support as part of the Treasure Coast Builders Association, the TCBA, mm-hmm. And they're probably chamber members too. Treasure Coast Builders Association, there, I did it clean. Homecrete and some others, and they build over in a beautiful neighborhood off of St. James.
Yeah.
And that's great back there. Is River's Edge?
River's Edge is a myriad of different ones. I'm not sure they have the D.R. Hortons in there.
But they're right out front.
Yeah.
We support the Solar Energy Loan Fund. We've had them recently in the chambers here for a town hall event. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, have you ever worked with them before? I have not. All right, so they make PACE available, which basically you can do solar improvements and then put it using the equity in your home and through special assessments essentially. And it goes on your tax bill and you pay for it that way. So that's another way that we do it. And we will continue to look for opportunities. Here's my idea. You know our medians, obviously, all city medians, all cities have medians in their roads. Even a beautiful community and one that values trees like Port St. Lucie, there's still medians that are too small for trees. They're dangerous to maintain. They have concrete. They're just flat. I don't know why we don't just integrate solar panels into our medians. Why can't the medians that are all concrete, or the little ones that are just grass, why couldn't we have infrastructure that's built with solar panels integrated into our roadways? And actually, they're doing a demonstration project right now with the famous Route 66, where they're actually making the drive surface solar panels.
We're going to let him do his follow-up, and then we have just a couple announcements to get to, and then we're going to let people go. We're running a little bit late. Did you have a follow-up?
Just, would you be interested in if I sent you a private contact about possibly an expansion on your idea about the medians there?
Sure, yeah, mayor
Always.
at cityofpsl.com.
Okay.
He's always open. All right, we are running just a tad late. We've been at it for an hour and 15, which is a marathon, not a sprint. But I did want to mention the Treasure Coast Tourism Showcase, because it too is at your beautiful.
Are you taking funny photos of us and
Yeah,
then putting it online?
I don't know. Makes us nervous when people up front are laughing. That's a splash zone. We are going to be at the Civic Center on May 20th. It's a Sunday. It's for the public. We want everybody that lives here year-round with their families, with their kids, come out to the Civic Center on May 20th. It's free, and we're going to have every tourism opportunity Treasure Coast wide. We've partnered with the tourism bureaus in both Martin County and Indian River County, and the Chamber, and our Tourism Development Council here in St. Lucie County.
Okay, good. I was worried you were cutting them out.
No, never. I could never do it without them, to be honest with you. And we are going to have a showcase, a tourism showcase, and you are going to learn so much about what is in your own backyard. And I guarantee you, if I gave this audience a quiz, they wouldn't come up with half of what we're going to showcase there. So make sure you come out.
Oh, and you're doing it at the Civic Center?
We're doing it at the beautiful Civic Center.
It's not at the other place.
It's not at the other
Thank
place.
you.
It's at the Civic Center. It's not at the Fence Center.
Hopcat opens this weekend, and
Yep.
Tradition.
We're doing a beautiful ribbon cutting. Mark and Loretta will be there doing the.
It's amazing. I
It
gotta
is-
tell you.
I bet.
It is cool. Have you been inside yet?
I haven't. You know me. I don't really drink, so I'm not.
Oh, yeah, but.
Yeah, the Chamber. Yeah.
It has beautiful sunsets there.
It is. I know. I'll head out there. With that, I think if we don't have any other announcements, we're going to let everybody go. You good?
Let's do it. Happy Easter, everybody.
Yeah. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you next time.